In memory of my grandmother, we're going to do a classic dish, one of my favorites as a kid, rice and gandules. And I know what you're thinking. You don't have a cauldron or a rice pot. You're correct, I don't. I have a Dutch oven. It's going to make things a little tricky. And to be completely honest with you, I don't have the ratio down for water for this dish. So it came out just a little more mushy than I would have liked. We're going to start with our pan on a heat that's medium to low and just let the temperature come up in the Dutch oven. I'm adding a little avocado oil. I like avocado oil for the fat and the smoke. Now you could use any type of sausage that you want. This is nostalgic for me. So we didn't have much money as kids. My family didn't have much money, so I'm using the classic hot dog in place of our sausage in the pot. You can use any type of sausage you want. I'm using regular old hot dogs. So what we're going to do is just lightly brown these things, get them cooking in the pan, stir them around a little bit, and then I'm going to slowly add in a quarter cup of store-bought Goya sofrito. I don't make my own. I don't make enough Spanish food, to be honest, anymore to make my own. And so I just usually have 4 helpings of this in one, and it'll last me a while. We're going to add this in. Now, this is frozen, so you're adding it to a hot pot. Watch for the splashes. You got to be cautious with all that. But we're just taking it down, and we're going to let it integrate into the pork and start making our broth, in which we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. Once you start getting this nice and completely melted down, because it comes frozen, some people will make this fresh and keep it in their fridge, and it usually doesn't last that long. I'm just store-bought Goya. Now we're going to add our capers and our peppers and our olives. I would not skip this step. It does add a flavor to the rice that you normally don't get. I prefer seedless, but this one has the seeds in it, and I just pick them out because I don't really like olives, but my family loves them. So again, what we're doing right now is we are creating a symphony of flavors to a dish that's just timeless for me. This is what I grew up on. And so we're allowing the oil to stay hot, medium low, and we are just slowly combining all of our flavors, allowing it to bubble and melt down and integrate, and slowly stirring things together. Next up, we have tomato sauce, and I use a quarter cup of tomato sauce. They didn't have any Goya at the store, so we just went with regular tomato sauce, quarter cup, and we're going to add that to the mix as well. Stir it around, let it come up to heat, let everything integrate, and just really allow the flavors to continue to build. All right, we've got a pretty consistent bubble here, and we're going to go with some sazon. I usually use 1 packet. I always will put in another packet of the Goya ham bouillon, as well as some salt. We go with some black fresh pepper that I grind. I like to add some garlic powder. Some people prefer the minced garlic. I just like garlic powder. I actually throw a little adobo in mine. A lot of people don't. As well as a few bay leaves. In they go. Now we've got our gandules, and I do not drain my gandules. They go right into the pan or right into the pot, and I just add the water with them, that's going to make it to where I get to about a cup of added water afterwards. But this type of gandula, I like this company. But I'll use anything. I'll use the Goya ones. Goya is what I grew up on. That's all they had at Winn-Dixie when I was a kid. So that's what we used. And I think that's for a lot of Latin Americans that are my age. So we've got the beans in. And that's about 2 cans of beans. I prefer more gandules in my rice. I like that flavor. I like that texture. And so I always prefer more gandules than less. I normally do at least 2 cans. Everything's bubbling. The flavors and the colors are coming together. I'm getting excited. And this is just something my kids have really grown up enjoying. If I do make rice and beans, or I do make a rice and gandules, then this is the one that I usually go with over the red beans and rice, or the pink beans and rice. So I've strained my rice, and I'm using Goya medium grain. I put 2 cups in my colander, and then I rinse it off. Some people don't. I usually get the excess starch off, and then into the pot it goes. Now we're going to let this thing cook and simmer until the initial bit of juices are absorbed into the rice. So I give it one good stir, really good, integrating everything into itself. And then I'm going to cover this thing, and I'm going to cover this pot tightly for about 5 minutes. And that's going to allow the initial absorption of the gandules broth and everything else that's in there to get into the rice. All right, it's been 5 minutes. We're going to take the pot off. I'm going to give it a stir, and as you can see, there's not as much liquid in the pot this time around. And so once I stir this, we're going to go medium-low for about 20 minutes. And because this is a Dutch oven, this thing is going to hold some major heat. Here we have very little water, so I'm going to add about a full cup of water. I probably should have stopped there. I think I add another 1/4 cup, and that just gave me just a little too much water, believe it or not. So 1 cup of water to the pot. We give it a nice stir, and then we're covering this thing up for 20 minutes to sit. Now after that 20-minute marker, I'm going to pop off the top lid. I'm going to fluff all the rice, and I'm going to let it sit. Some people cover it in banana leaves. My grandmother always covered it in tinfoil. I'm not going to do that. Once it comes off the heat, it's going to sit fluffed with the lid on until we're ready to serve. This dish came out really good. Like I did say in the beginning, I used, and you saw, just a tad too much water. I should have trusted my instinct and went with a full, just 1 cup of water plus the rice. But here it is, rice and gandules, and we ate the whole pot. It was great.